Hey there, Trekkers and Trekkies. So, got another ship build we're doing. Obviously, you've already seen the thumbnail. I am making a Peregrine Federation attack ship. I did do some checking because I was like, did anybody ever make any version of this? And did find that Eagle Moss several years ago did actually make this ship in the little, I think it was about 6-inch long version, 5.5, something like that. It's pretty small, but Micro Machines never did it. Playmates never did it. None of the model companies ever made it, whether it be AMT, Revel, whatever. So we need more versions. So obviously it's a very unique looking ship. I'll throw a picture up somewhere, probably right about here. And it was very different. It wasn't supposed to actually be a Starfleet ship. It was sort of this generic Federation ship that we only ever saw the inside of it once, and that was in the Next Generation episode, the Maquis, when Lieutenant Rowe was using one when was first, she had fake joined the Maquis, but then she was just like, hey, they've actually got some interesting shit to say, so I'm going to join them anyways. And we saw her and Riker on one of the ships. Well, anyways, we're going to make a single-seater version, and it's not going to quite look the same. When I was looking for something to use as a base for this, I was browsing around and saw from the 1997 movie Starship Troopers. Y'all remember that? It had Casper Van Dien, I think is his name. Of course, crap, my brain wants to call him Barney from How I Met Your Mother, because that's what he's most well known for now. Doogie Howser. Oh God, I'm going to blank on his name. Neil Patrick Harris. It was going to drive me nuts. Of course, Michael Ironside was also in it, and Clancy Brown, our favorite crab from under the sea. Whole lot of, actually, Denise Richards. It's a good movie. It's actually one of my favorite, just turn on a movie and have it going in the background. Jake Busey was in that. Wonder whatever happened to him. He was an interesting, of course, his dad, Gary Busey. He's always been a little off the rails anyways. Forgot Rue McClanahan was in that movie. She plays the real strict teacher. You should go check out Starship Troopers. So anyways, they made a line of toys to go with Starship Troopers, including this. Now, this is obviously not the complete toy. It's supposed to have wings here that fold up and down. It's supposed to have little fins that go on the back here. It's missing the battery cover. I have put batteries in it and tested it. And what happens is you press the button here, and there's lights here and here that flash, and it makes a horrible freaking noise. It's like, nah, it's not fun. I'm not gonna do anything about the noise, but it does sort of, kind of, not really, but sort of sound like maybe engines running. And on the Peregrine ships, this is where the engine is located, here, where they've got guns. Well, here, let me switch to this. You'll see they've got guns here. I'm going to try and fashion the warp nacelles to go here. We're going to make new wings to stick off that will hopefully fold up and down. I'm going to get rid of these little doodads. Now, of course, on the Peregrine, there's like two of these sections here that are on either side of the cockpit with a roll bar that goes between them. And I was like, you know what? We're going to call this the slightly smaller Peregrine. Like, I wonder... See, a peregrine is a type of bird. You'll get to see my brain working in real time. I want to pause and Google something real quick. Okay, so here's what I just did. A peregrine is a type of falcon. There is a smaller version of a falcon called a Kestrel. So, we're going to theoretically call this the Kestrel class. Is that cool? I'm going to try and remember that. This is a Kestrel class fighter. So anyways, that now you can see into a little bit of how my brain works sometimes. Anyways, gonna also need to make a replacement battery cover. That's really easy. It's a square with a couple little tabs and a screw hole. It's supposed to have landing gears. The other two are supposed to be here and here. So it can, and I do want landing gear, so I'm going to fashion. I've been debating, I've looked on Thingiverse and found a few different landing gears that could kind of work. I haven't really decided on anything for certain. But I'm probably just gonna end up fashioning something myself. Use some PVC and stuff like that. Of course, now the big thing is you probably want to see. There's the cockpit. It does have a few little controls in there, but it's deep in there and it's hard to see. And got my Worf here so that we can throw him in, and you can see sort of what he looks like piloting our Kestrel class fighter. I am going to paint over these. It's supposed to, in Starship Troopers, it was a two-person fighter, and they set front and back. I'm going to paint over all these fake windows here, and I'm going to turn this into sort of the deflector dish. Kind of like what's on, I think that's supposed to be on the Peregrine. There's a little black panel up there in front of where the window sits. I'm assuming it's probably the deflector. I don't know. I know that it's supposed to have like a little gun type thing here under the nose. Not going to worry about that. But I do want to try and also see if I can take this section and turn it around so that this flat bit is at the back. And then I can take and make a roll bar deal back here for it to connect to, that'll look a little bit more like the Peregrine fighters that we saw in Next Gen and Deep Space Nine. I think that's really the only places we ever saw them. I don't think they ever showed up in any movies. They might have shown up in First Contact. I'd have to go back and check. In the Borg battle, but I know we saw them a lot on Deep Space Nine and several of the battles that they did there, and of course they're at the end of Next Gen when we saw that the Maquis had some of them. But it would make for a great little fighter defense ship. We've seen in the non-canon stuff that the Peregrines are part of Starfleet's fighter force as well. A lot of ships carry them. I'm also going to do the trick on the nacelles, on the little thrusters back here, like I did with the Klingon ship, to make those look like they're lit up kind of thing. So I guess at this point, really, it's just a matter of getting a screwdriver and taking this apart and seeing what we're looking at and seeing what I need to do in order to make some warp nacelles and take like this off and that kind of thing, and turn the other piece around. That's what we're going to do first. So, let's go. So, I start removing all the screws. I've got my little magnetic tray that I'm making sure to set all of them in so that I can find them when I get done. That is the screwdriver out of my Starfleet engineering kit that I got last year. I had to switch screwdrivers though because I couldn't get down into those holes. It's a pretty lengthy little hole there for that screw. So I got it open, assessed the situation, started looking at what else can be removed, and this is when I realized that where the little guns that connect to the wings were at, that those were going to be a problem because the wiring is it's very, very short. I removed those two little tabs at the back that were for the wings that stuck out. Okay, So, got it open, and getting the little pieces back here out, that was nice and easy, thankfully. As far as the lights, I'm not sure. Because I saw this, I took this screw out, this here where the wing is held on, and oh, I don't know. It's definitely put together. The wing assembly here is all one piece. I'm guessing, I realize now, it's probably so that it can have the whole spring mechanism for the gun. There's supposed to be like a little missile you can load in there. Oh, and I'm gonna hit the camera. Sorry about that. Let me readjust this. Sorry, you press this little button and it causes the spring-loaded missile to pop out. And so I'm realizing that's all one assembly. Let's see. And obviously I need to clean out. There's a lot of old 30-year-old garbage inside here. Let me take the chair out. So yeah, this chair only had one screw, I think, to hold it in, which also held the foot in for the leg, the landing gear leg, and this is where I started changing some of my plans. Okay. Definitely going to have to change plans on the warp nacelles, because I don't want to deal with trying to take these wings apart, since they are one solid piece. It's a little annoying, but I'm gonna live with it. We're gonna work around it. I'm actually reconsidering the landing gear thing now. That I took this out, and I kind of like the way that it sits. I'm thinking I might just put a piece of plastic in here, cover it up, maybe make some just tiny little landing pads, like out of rubber or something, and put them on the bottom. And then close off this gap as well. Might take the, see if we can take those off as well. Yeah. So, we're gonna call it a pause at this point and see what happens next. Okay, so I had to go off camera for a little bit because working inside of this tight space was actually getting really difficult. But I did get the wiring moved around. I got this top piece now facing back this direction, so that from the profile it's much more like that impulse engine on the Peregrine. I also took, and on the bottom here, I made a replacement panel. The way I did that was I've got the this ABS plastic. We'll get to the wings in just a second. The ABS plastic, I took and just cut it and shaped it, and made two little tabs to go on the bottom that slot right into there, and then I put a screw in like that. And I wanted to give this a nice finished look, so where all of the screw holes were and where the landing pad was, landing gear, I've covered over with foam panels, foam pieces. I did the same thing back here where those two little struts for the back fins stuck out. So it gives it just a nice finished look, which brings us to the wings. As you can see, I've got one stuck on there. If you remember my previous project, the Klingon transport shuttle, that Buzz Lightyear toy came with these little wings. Well, I took and I've kind of cut out, this was squared up on here, and I took a knife and I cut those out so that I could take and get them into there like that. And this one's a nice tight fit. The other one I got a little too loose. But that way you can also fold it up so it looks kind of like that, which is something that the Peregrine fighters also do. But as you can see, the wing, it looks kind of small on there. So again, I took and I cut some of the XPS or the PLA plastic, and we're going to take it and actually position it over the wing like that, and then we'll bring these together, fill them out, and that kind of thing. That'll be coming up in just a few minutes. And then finally I took and I cut some plastic for the roll bar back here. This is going to connect these pieces here. And I need to shave that up a little bit more. But that'll complete the roll bar. Like that. And finally, I need to pause for 1 second to grab something from over there. Okay, so also thinking back on the project where I built the Argo, you remember I talked about the shuttlecraft that I had that had gotten all busted up. Well, I did rescue from that the warp nacelles off of that shuttle. So my hope is that I can take them apart. I'm probably gonna, I don't know, I might try and keep the wheels now that I think about it. That could actually be kind of cool. If it had wheels on the bottom, then I can roll it along the table. Anyways, I'm probably gonna have to definitely get rid of these struts that are on it. Those are kind of annoying, but I'm gonna see about attaching those on either side, because they are the perfect length for this. So, which is fantastic. So, let's do some glue up. So, while I am gluing these parts on, getting all the wings put together and everything, a lot of my plans do end up changing as I go along. It's kind of the nature of, these kinds of projects that, you have to adapt, you have to change. That's the nature of it. So eventually I decide that the warp nacelles, I only ended up using the top halves. I'm not going to use the bottom halves, but I don't explain that on camera. So go ahead and get that out of the way now. This is attaching the lower part of the roll bar. I'm not sure what you would call that. It's sort of a fin type of thing. I don't know. But eventually we'll turn that into some part of the mechanism. Here I am first taking apart the warp nacelles to get a look and see what I'm dealing with on the inside there, because I was kind of hoping I might be able to use the lights that were built into them. But then I realized that would mean taking the ship back apart in order to connect the lights, and that probably wasn't going to work. So, got the wings on, got the struts on, got the nacelles opened. I'm encouraged by what I see here. Obviously, I need to clean these out. They're 30 years old and filled with disgusting. What's interesting is the way that this piece is put together. It looks like this is a clear plastic. They've shoved a tiny light bulb in there and then have the wires running off. So I actually might have to, I don't know how I'm going to do that. I didn't think about about wiring that. Of course, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to. I got to figure out how I want to connect the engines to this. I'm definitely going to have to gut a lot of what's on the inside. Now that I'm looking at it, the wheels are probably definitely not going to stay. But yeah, I think I want to pause at this point and play around with it. I'm probably going to have to figure out exactly how to get these mounted on here. I'm going to have to cut out a lot of the sides of these in order to get it to fit. But yeah, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I figured out the warp nacelles. This one I haven't messed with yet, but this one is the one that I had to alter significantly, and probably going to do some more. I had to cut out a whole section here. Had to cut out a piece over here, a piece over here. Had to cut everything out of the inside guts. And I actually even had to trim the side of this on here just in order to get this there to line up like that so that it'll fit on there. Now, when I attach the two pieces on the underside, it means that there's going to be a gap about that wide, probably about an inch, inch and a half between the two nacelle pieces. I'm going to get a piece of semi-transparent plastic and put in between there, probably paint it blue. Because, remember earlier I told you got the battery case on there and everything. I'm going to take, and I'm going to put foil tape on the inside of here so it will bounce around and reflect this little light that's right here. But I real quick want to show you one other thing I did. I forgot to tell you earlier. So you see that round piece of foam? That's where the speaker was. And I completely covered it with a piece of foam because it was horrible loud. Like I could press the button and people outside next door could hear it. It was horrible. So covered it up in order to bring the level of the sound down. I'm going to let you all hear it, and you can see the only thing that's going to flash is these two red lights. But now you can finally get to see what that's like. So that's what we're going to work on next. I'm probably going to do all this off screen because it's a lot of cutting, and I need to be able to look at it real closely and not worry about cutting myself while I'm trying to do it. But yeah, once we get that together, I just realized I'm going to have to make sure and tape that plastic once I've got it on before we paint. I'm glad I thought of that. So, yeah. Still got work to do on the wings. And lastly, on the Peregrine, on the underside here on the chin of it, it has a little double gun. Well, if you'll remember a while back, I showed you the Final Faction stuff that I got. And one of them included this little two-barreled gun type of thing. I'm going to take and glue a little piece of foam on one side. I'm going to cut this little nubbins off of the back. And then we'll glue that onto the underside of the chin. And that'll be ready to go. So, oh heck, I might as well do that right now. So, I do go ahead and get that glued on, just like I said I would. And then there's going to be a jump cut where it skips almost 2 months. It was about 6 weeks, something like that. Because my grandmother died. And that took up a lot of time. Had some other family stuff going on. And then the hurricane. And so it's just, life kind of got messed up for a while. So this is now about 7 weeks after that previous video was shot. This is me getting those panels removed the same way as the other one, so that I can match it up, which I've already completely finished the other nacelle top piece. During that time period, I did decide that I wasn't going to use the underside of the nacelle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the top sides in place over where that gun is. And then I'm just going to kind of enclose it at the back. And at the front, I'm going to put a piece of clear plastic on the underside where, so that you can see where I've got the other one where it's got the foil tape there, so that the light will kind of bounce down and reflect out of that. So I put that clear plastic under there, so that it can actually be reflected out and sort of hopefully see that light flashing under there. It's just, it's not really intended to be anything, but it'll look cool once it gets finished. And yeah, that's getting all those plastic pieces out of there. I did jump cut there so that I could install some of the plastic pieces to block up the openings. And now this is me closing up the wings. I'd already done the one side, but I'm now getting the other side closed up. I just use a piece of craft foam and the super glue, running it down the wings. And then in a few minutes after it sets, I will go back through with scissors and a knife, a hobby knife, and trim off the edges there so that it has a nice flush finish against all of that. Here I am test fitting the two warp nacelles, which I did. You see where the grills are? I did fill those in as well at one point. And now I am gluing the warp nacelles in place, and I just went nuts with the glue. I wanted to make sure that this was going to stay in place. I didn't want it coming loose in any way. And I will take some craft foam and cover up all of the openings. And now I'm going to get it ready for painting, get it base coated, and we'll be right back. All right, well, as you can see, got the silver base coat on there. At this point, all I'm really going to be doing is some little highlighting effects, do the red on the back for the impulse engines and the thrusters. Few little things. There's the edges of the wings apparently are actually supposed to be sort of a tannish color. I'm going to go with this marshmallow. And I'm going to be using these color shifting paints to paint the sides of the nacelles to give them sort of that blue glow of the nacelles. The undersides of the nacelles, I don't know if they're going to end up looking the way I wanted. I made sure and did the transparent thing and everything, and it's not perfect, but, we'll see the final product and decide then. So, let's get to work. All right, so the painting is actually pretty simple. I'm just going to block out a few sections where there's colors. The phaser pieces I'm doing in a gunmetal gray. After this, it's really just throwing on some stickers that I made for it, and then we can jump into the commercial that I made. And I do have a clip after that showing the lights. I had to be in a completely dark room in order to show off the lights. So you can see that coming up in just a few minutes. But yeah, I did do the orange over the top part of the nacelles, and then it's red on some of the other accents. The rest is just a couple of different grays and the gunmetal gray. And then I do the gradient of the metal color with the white, orange, and yellow and red. And there you can see where I put the red clear coat on the engines. And it looks okay, but like I said, you got to be in the complete dark in order for it to look right. And there was these little grills. I decided to paint them red as well. And I used my silver pen to kind of clean all that up. So yeah, here's the stickers. Decided to name the ship the USS Crockett. Sort of a Davy Crockett type of thing. You know, one of those people that's pretty famous here in Texas. The Pack-Leads are attacking. Time to send in the Kestrel class fighters.
Alpha team, move out. Let's fly.
These little ships are armed to the teeth.
Watch your wing, Alpha 3.
Take on any enemy.
Let's take it out.
And reign victorious.
We got him.
First class Starfleet fighter is not available right now. Visit your nearest retailer for something else. Pilot not included. Victory is yours. Well, there you have it. There is the Kestrel class fighter, Federation fighter, a spinoff of the Peregrine. There. I hope you have enjoyed this look at me building this and get some ideas of your own to maybe try to do something similar. Do something better for all I care. Go out there and make it even cooler. Make it to where it actually shoots lights and lights up and shows off sound. It'll be brilliant. You know? So, thank you for sticking through with this video. Tell me what you thought. Tell me what else I should do. Tell me if you got ideas. What kind of ideas have you got? You know, stuff like that. Interact. Do the YouTube algorithm bullshit. You know? Take care of yourself. I'll see you next time. Well, you know, go out and make something. If you enjoy my videos and want to see more, please like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell icon. If you want to support me, you can find me on Patreon or go over to Zazzle for prints of my artwork, t-shirts, and other cool stuff. If you're still here, why? Do you want to jam out?